the Physical Embodiment Studio. I'm Courtney Sprawls, a certified personal trainer and yoga instructor, and today I'll be guiding you through some of my favorite movements to activate and mobilize the hips. So let's just dive right in. We're going into bridges to start to warm up the glutes first before we get into some bendy movements. So lay down completely on the floor. Bring your feet about hip distance, ground your feet, relax your head, neck, and shoulders, and settle your hands down by your side. We'll press your feet into the floor as you start to peel your hips up off the floor, squeezing through the glutes and enjoying the lengthening of the front of the hips and quads. Inhale, lower the hips down, relax your pelvic floor and your glutes. Exhale, lift up, squeezing through the glutes and the back body. So it's important as we start to pump blood and circulation into the hips that you're being mindful and present with what's happening while you move. So I'm feeling the lengthening and relaxation of my pelvic floor as I drop. As I press the hips up towards the sky, I'm lengthening through the quads and feeling a nice engagement in the core. So we'll start to work with your breath. Inhale, lowering down, exhale to lift. You can do that in the opposite breath sequence as well, whatever feels best for you. Let's do 3 more like that. All right, lower your hips down. Bring your feet wider than the mat if you're on a mat. And you'll let your knees fall over to the right, feeling a nice lengthening in the front of the hip flexor on the left side. And then we'll let the knees knock over to the left, feeling a lengthening in the right hip flexor. Start to coordinate with your breath, feeling your legs move nice and fluid. And I'm not forcing my hip on the floor as I let my knee drop, but you are kind of magnetizing it to the earth as you move. Just to feel that opposing direction, to really get the length in the quad. Now if you want a little more of a stretch, I'll have you squeeze your glute of the leg that's internally rotating. So as you twist to the left, you'll squeeze your right glute. As you twist to the right, you'll squeeze your left glute. All right, now that we have some mindfulness and blood flow going through those legs, let's rock up into a seated position. We'll go into a move called the Bretzel. So it sounds like pretzel and it looks like a pretzel, but it's called Bretzel. You're flexing your heels and there's a zigzag position. It's not quite 90-90, it's more of a zigzag Z looking position. And your hips are rooted on the floor, trying to stay as upright as you can. Now from here, start to walk your hands forward. Right now, I'm caving over my right leg. So my right leg is in front of me, I'm dropping down. And in order to protect the knee, you'll flex the heel of the foot that's in front of you to activate the anterior tibialis and support the kneecap. Now every exhale will bring you a little deeper into this fold. I am noticing my hip lift up a little bit off the floor. Again, I don't want you to force anything. I'm letting my body do it with an observation of also pushing the hip down as much as I can. Let's stay for 2 more breaths. And you'll lift up through center. Now slowly start to walk your hands behind you. I like to bend my elbows down to the floor, so I'm supporting myself with my forearms, but if that's not happening for you today, you can just bend your elbows a little bit to get some length in the front of your hip flexor of the left side. So find your comfortable position, and again, it's helpful if you squeeze your glute to really engage the back body so you can lengthen through the front body. Stay for a couple rounds of deep breaths. If you're noticing any pain, limit your range of motion or come out of it completely. This doesn't have to be your move today. Now push into the floor, come back into an upright position, and we'll switch legs. So pivot over to the other side, flexing your heels, find length in your spine, try and keep your hips stable on the floor, and walk your hands forward. I find it beneficial to find length in the spine, to find more hamstring lengthening on that left leg. Stay for one more breath. Push yourself back into a seated position. Walk your hands behind you. And again, not every side feels the same, so honor your body. For me today, forearms feels acceptable, so I'm going to open through my chest, squeeze my glute on my right leg to feel the length of the hip flexor on the right side. Stay for 2 more breaths. Alright, gently push yourself up into center. Bring your feet together so the palms of your feet touch. Knees are wide. Find length in your spine and pull yourself forward. Really send your tailbone back to the wall behind you. Stay proud through the chest and find a little more depth on your exhale. All right, lift up through center, bring your knees together. Get onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels high. So right away I'm feeling a nice lengthening in the calves. And I like to curl through the spine, tuck the chin just for a moment, and then we'll start to press the heels into the floor as you lift your hips. Deep bend in the knees, relaxing your head, neck, and shoulders, finding the forward fold. Let's stay for 4 rounds of breath. Feeling the lengthening of the lumbar spine, freeing up some space at the top of the hips, and finding a nice, generous stretch through the hamstrings and calves. Now begin to heel toe your feet wide. I'm going wider than my mat, so if you have a mat for reference, you'll just go outside of the mat. Otherwise, it's a little bit wider than hip distance. We'll have a soft bend in the knees with your feet parallel to start. Staying here for a couple rounds of breath. Push your hands into the floor or the yoga blocks if you have them. Lengthen through your spine. Turn your toes in, heels out, okay? So your legs are mostly straight here with your hips high. Now you'll bump your hips over to the right without bending your knees. So you'll bump your hips over to the right, legs stay straight so you can see me here, and you're feeling a nice lengthening through the left inner thigh. Bump your hips over to the left, feeling a stretch in the right inner thigh. Legs stay straight. Bring your hips through center. Turn your toes out, heels in. Begin to lower your hips down to the floor and push into your knees. Okay, so you're gently pushing into your knees with your forearms, keeping your heart proud. Feeling a really nice stretch through the inner thighs. We want to make sure your knees are in line with your ankles, so make sure your feet aren't too wide, because this can get a little funky in the knees if not. Now push yourself up into a standing position, heel toe your feet in close. You made it through the hip mobilization practice that I really enjoy. Hopefully that feels really good for your body. If there's any other comments or questions you have, please feel free to leave them below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.